Pusher, a brand new episode based on voice, dialogue, and experiment with me and all myself trying to embrace myself. Today it's the pusher's turn, and she's very interesting. And I'll explain to you why. But first, check in with yourself a minute. Do you recognize moments where you seem to push yourself to go harder, further? An extra hour of work in the evening on the couch, wherever you work. Just an extra mile or just an extra nice dinner. Otherwise, it's not good enough, or otherwise, there is a lack, a short of something. I recognize, and I focus on the last 2 months of my journey as an entrepreneur. And my pusher was there a lot. I would say she was there constant. But I discovered in my case, where I am now, I discovered that she pushing me constantly, it's not driven by herself. There is something else that drives her to push me to go forward, to put more stuff in a day, to set deadlines, impossible deadlines. And if you listen to this whole series of voice dialogue podcasts since episode 51, where I introduce these podcasts, I started with one of my selves, part of the ego, according to voice dialogue, the inner critic. And I've noticed that the inner critic is activating the pusher. The inner critic is building to-do list so long, so huge that it's impossible, not even to finish in a day what I've set myself to, but it's not even possible to finish in a week. Even though if I would be home alone, no kids, no husband, nothing, just take care of myself, it wouldn't be possible. And yet I wrote it on my to-do list. And it wasn't, it was the pusher then pushing me forward, driving me crazy, because I would never finish the list. It's impossible to finish a list, so I did not. But for the inner critic, it's a way to drive me crazy, to stop me from doing all those scary things that I'm doing, making dreams come true. Let's say like that. And it's well, at the moment not, but looking back when I was writing about this, it's a fantastic way of sabotaging myself, right? My inner critic creates huge to-do lists. My pusher, they work together. My pusher pushes me. Go, get up earlier. Go work harder. Go work every single minute. Go cancel dinners with friends because you gotta work. And meanwhile, my energy, it is another way of my energy to go down. And I discover it's such a clever, it's such a smart way of sabotaging me, because it would make me even more unhappy, because I would never, and then it made me think, oh, if I want to go abroad and if I want to work with women worldwide, it ain't gonna happen, because I cannot even finish a couple of things here written on the to-do list. But it weren't a couple of things, it were big, huge things. But that's what I did. And and I did more interesting discoveries, the ways of how I sabotage myself. And you could say they're painful, because in a way, of course, they're very sad, right? That you do this to yourself. I'm doing this to myself. And really, I'm not kidding you when I'm saying that the past 2 months, they were not funny. They were not funny. And yes, of course, I showed up. for work, for appointments, for whatever. But the joy, I had more, say it like that. And I have it again. But it's so amazing how kind of sneaky, how the ways, and of course I knew that, and you probably know that as well. If you have worked on yourself, if you developed yourself in some way, you know that we all have ways of sabotaging ourselves. And this was such a clear one. And so the pusher itself doesn't have so much power, but the pusher itself let herself be activated by the inner critic, at least in my example. And so for me, dealing with the pusher was just this discovery. And then she calmed down. And you know, the funny thing is, it's actually ironic. In the past months, yes, I've done a lot. I've worked on a lot of things. But if now I'm doing I'm doing things totally different. I mean, not what I do, but how I do it. And then, of course, the way I deliver is also different. If my energy is nicer, higher, more empowering towards myself, it will also be more empowering towards you and women I work with, and the presentations I'm doing. But yeah, it is sad. It is sad in a way that you can pull yourself down, especially when you have this clear discovery. And on the other side, I don't see it as sad. I see it as, I'm glad that I know. I'm really glad that I know, because if I notice me pushing myself, then I ask myself the question, who's behind? Why? What's needed? Who's calling, or who wants to show up, or whatever it is? And instant it becomes more soft, it becomes less hard, it becomes more feminine, maybe I would say, more inwards, instead of constantly delivering. Otherwise it's not good enough. So if I take a look at the pusher, I've been always 5-6 years ago, I decided to I was like, okay, what am I doing here? I'm a sales and marketing manager, part of the management team. I'm making a lot of money, mainly for other people, and so they can buy bigger cars. They stock value grows, and is that it? Okay, I'm 42-ish right now. When I'm about to leave, is that it? Would I be happy? Would I be happy with leaving kind of that, or just that? And my answer was no. And I've been doing a bit of voluntary work, and not too much, because I was working to kids. Kids were a lot younger compared to now. But my answer was no. So at a certain point, I knew, if this is not it, what is it then? So I figured out, that's why I found my purpose, my dream, whatever, at least to make a difference for women, so they take a position, so no one can ignore them anymore, and the world becomes a more equal place for women. Within a month, I quit my job. I just had a purpose, and I quit my job. Of course, we talked about it together, my husband and I, because it also impacts him and kids. But I quit my job. So making those, because for me, the change of having a certainty that when I leave this world, when I'm dying, did I contribute, yes or no? And just by leaving my job and focusing on something that I truly want to do, the answer was yes. And before it was the certainty of having a job, having an income, and well, I've enough experience that having a job is not, and there is no form at all of security. In fact, yeah, let's keep it like that. There is no security in life. For me, it turned into, okay, when I leave, when I'm dying, what have I done? What did I contribute to? And I had an answer. Even if I would only be doing this for 6 months, I did contribute. So that was the shift in security I took. I did. So for me, that wasn't a difficult question and a choice. And I know that in that program, we were a group of 35 people. I think I was the only one doing it like that. Of course, I had financial things arranged. I had already done a lot of investments, buying houses that would bring us money. So I already done that. So it made it a lot easier for me to make that decision. And we could take the cut in money. We were willing to do that, to make that effort, if you want to call it an effort. So I am, and I've done you can call them bold, whatever you call them, weird. It depends how you look at it, but you can call them all weird decisions. But for me, they were normal. It was me. I could do those things. I could leave a job when I was really hurt about something. When I think looking back, it was my ego being hurt, but never mind. I would just leave my job and find something else. Job is just a job, right? And it's replaceable. But me being happy, or it's not I am not replaceable. So I need to find a place where I can work in a joyful way. So you would say at a certain point, at least I would say at a certain point, making those decisions is not, I just do them. And I think that is what characterizes me a lot. I just do it. But I also just do it. I go on stage in front of 150 people. I just do it until it takes, and then afterwards, even when I have a professional video recorder, having everything recorded, it takes me 2 months to watch it because in my head, I'm turning myself down, what I've talked about before episode 51. My inner critic is so, has a big impact on me. Let's say it like that. And looking back, it had it for a long time. But I'm very good in doing. It's very easy to do. I have a few friends. They also have their own company. They also have their plans for the world. And every 1 or 2 months, we see each other. And then I realized in the past year and a half, that every time I would give feedback on what I've done or reached or whatever, I would amaze myself. Oh, Jay, that's really a lot. That's really a lot. But I just do it. And I think my main takeaway from this current discovery, working the inner critic and the pusher together, the inner critic pushing me down, oh, you're not good enough. So pusher, make her work a little bit harder. So at least you produce more. So you're better. And so my doing is now transforming to more being. It's not that then I am, but I do when I am in an okay state. You know what I mean? If I'm actually talking to you you're right in front of me, and of course you're not, but that's how it felt. So I check it not now because I'm writing 2 to 4 times a day still with a voice dialogue method, at least from what I've learned till so far, because I didn't even finish the book yet. Yeah, I ask myself, how do I feel, and how my well-being is my number one priority. And so that means that either the inner critic or the pusher or whoever pushes me in something because otherwise it's not good enough, or to compensate, or to whatever reason it has, I first ask myself, how do I feel? How do I feel? Do I feel like, oh shit, I'm short of something, so I need to take action? Or is it, oh yeah, it's Black Friday, half of the world is doing deals. I didn't actually think of it, but this is something, it's actually fun because people have been asking so many times and my answer was always no. Now let's just make it a yes. In 15 minutes, I wrote this email, sent out, and sold out. As simple as that. And well, as simple as that, it's not as simple as that, but it's because my energy was right. It was, I walked, and I always have a 6 o'clock walk in the morning. So I've done that already for years, actually, since COVID, not always at 6. I started at 7, working around the kids. And now I just wake up at 6 and I leave the bed, do something with my LinkedIn ads. That's the earlier in the morning, the better. And then I go for a walk, and then I shower and wake up everybody and, the kids. And yeah, that's our morning routine. But yeah, to keep my pusher not away, but my pusher being less pushy and only kind of let her be when my state of being is a state from joy. Yeah, so and that's from doing to being, and from being to doing, from being to action. That is my current journey. I'm in the middle of it. Doesn't always work, but it works a lot more compared to before. I would say my whole 48 years before, but especially compared to the 2-3 months, since 2-3 months. Yeah, yeah. So the pusher, yeah. The fourth one out of 5. There is a fifth one, and that's the perfectionist, and probably also well known. Yeah, she will be the subject of the next episode, and then the one from after that one, I got lost counting. After that one, I will have the interview published in this podcast show. Interview, so I can actually be even more in a state of those different me's, and not only the 5 I just mentioned, but the ones before. And again, the ones I've just mentioned, wherever you put your attention to, that will grow. And I gave a lot of attention to 5, or well, including tomorrow, to 5 selves who are not your biggest cheerleaders, let's say like that. But once you embrace them, once you acknowledge them, you don't have to appreciate them, but if you just face them, if you see them, if you look them in the so-called eyes, trust me, they will be less active. They will be less active, and and if they're less active, your ego becomes more aware, and your decisions become more authentic. Yeah, cheerleading you instead of cheerleading whatever we picked up in our lives that doesn't serve us actually anymore. Okay, thank you for listening again. I hope you take away something from these episodes. I would really appreciate if you would share. Also, if you have a friend or colleague who is exactly in this, who you know of, that is in this maybe bit doubtful state, pushing herself, questioning herself, doesn't know where to go to. It's all because you're not, or she's not connected. Ego is not aware enough to make the decisions. That's the first step. I believe it's the first step towards a more joyful life. Okay, thank you.